Hey, what's up? Travel Chronicles. I believe it's chapter 46. So, quick recap of volleyball there last night. We did not do that well. We got swept in the JV and the varsity contest. So that's the second game of the year. And first game was a sweep for us. This game was a sweep against us. It was close. I mean, we weren't getting blown out from the get-go. It was just, it seemed like once, in the varsity game at least, once they got to 20, then they just went right to 24, and then they were 1 point away, and we were like 6 or 7 points away. It's the best we could do. But, it's early in the season. We got 2 seniors, and then all the rest are sophomores or less. So, still got a lot of learning to do. A lot of good experience, but it's one of those things where you have to pay the piper for the experience, and usually that comes in losses. So that's where they're at right now. One thing I will say, the line judge did step in last night and made a correct call to get him an extra point. The ball had there was a play at the net, and the ball landed out of bounds, but it was on Martins Ferry's side. So, unless you hit the ball onto your own side, and I couldn't follow the play exactly what was happening at the net. So I was looking at the official, and I said, look, the ball was out, because he was giving the point to St. Clairsville. I was like, the ball was out on this side. And I was like, unless there was a touch, the net on Ferry, I mean, that's Ferry's point. And he's like, nah, I think I pointed the wrong way. And then he corrected it. Everything was good. So happy about that. That worked out. So, but hopefully I'm off the leash for line judging for a while now. In other things, I haven't talked about the COVID in a while. Kids are going back to school. They went for orientation today, and basically that was it's going to be to show them how to get online for when they shut the school down in 2 weeks as a knee-jerk reaction to something. I mean, here's the thing. You do the self-checks. You get to school, maybe you're taking temperatures of kids when they come in, and if somebody has a high temperature, maybe you have like a little quarantine area or something you put them in. Obviously take precautions when you're interacting with them or something, double check them, and then, if they're still high, you make some arrangement for them to go home, so that they're not around the rest of the students. Once you do that, the mask, limiting social, or the social distancing, that's fine. This is probably going to be like the healthiest school year in history, because of all the precautions that they're taking. And precautions that people are taking at home. But the thing is, we're trying to also play sports, right? So, played 2 games of volleyball. We had a cross-country meet. First football game's tonight. And all signs are, it's a go. And it's, honestly, at this point, because things are open enough, to me, the liability's off of the school completely. Because all they have to do is say, well, did this kid go to the store? Did your parents go to the store? Did they go to work? Did they do this, that, and the other? It's like, well, there's a high likelihood that they got, unless there's, this player tested positive for COVID. They played in a contest knowingly having it, and then, transmitted it to somebody else. And if you do that, then there could be stuff that comes back on the individual. Right? Maybe not necessarily on the school, because the school's not gonna maybe take on that whole liability. But in the end, it's ridiculous anyway, because I believe the death toll for kids 15 and under is 45 total. In a normal summer, you probably have more kids killed from drowning accidents or 4-wheeler accidents, things of that nature. 45 is why things are shut down and so restricted right now, at schools. just, I understand people being cautious and want to take the cautious approach, but at some point somebody has got to stand up and say, hey, we totally misjudged this thing. It turns out, if you're older, if you have an underlying medical condition, you need to take precautions. But you should be doing that anyway, right? I mean, if you're out there just throwing yourself into stuff and getting diseases, that's kind of on you. I mean, right now it's like, oh, this is a possibility, so people are limiting their exposure, and eventually you gotta get over it. I mean, you want to live or not? What's the point of breathing in and out and not being able to do anything? Look, the whole goal of this, to start with, was to flatten the curve. The curve's flat. It's flat. I think the hospitals and everything can handle it. Like, you're not hearing it blaring in the news media how hospitals are struggling anymore. 7-day death rate is coming down. Like around 1,200. I still debate these numbers. Second or third hand knowledge of death that was reported as COVID, where a girl got kicked in the head by a horse. That's not COVID. I mean, we got to be, if we want to move on and get people doing things, we have to be honest. We have to be intellectually honest with ourselves of what's going on. And, people, oh, pandemic. Oh, did you see the movie Contagion? Yeah, that stuff is bad. Like right now, we're still, worldwide, less than 1 million deaths attributed to this thing. And those are probably hokey numbers anyway. Some of them, and the vast majority of them are probably people who are 60 years or older. So, if you're at risk, then you need to take it easy. But the other thing is, I mean, the world is upside down right now. This shooting that happened over the weekend is blowing my mind how people are reacting to this. Is a horrible guy got shot in the back? Yes. But was it partially his fault? Yes. Because, one, the police were called to this area. Okay, the police didn't just show up randomly on the street and like, hey buddy, what are you doing? And try to start shaking him down. That wasn't what happened. They were called there because there was a dispute. Well, if it's a domestic dispute or something, or somebody's reporting that somebody shouldn't be there, guess what? When the police come, somebody is leaving that area. Okay, and it's usually going to be with the police. If you make that call, somebody is coming to take you. I've seen that secondhand. Like, I wasn't there like right when it happened, but I know the person that it happened to, and it did happen. They got called, their spouse called them for domestic abuse, and when the police show up, somebody's going. Like, it doesn't matter if things are resolved, if it was in the heat of the moment that they called the police. That doesn't matter. Once the police are called, somebody's leaving that situation. And that was a white person, okay? So, it ain't about color. That's how that works. If you call somebody on domestic abuse, police are taking somebody. Because they can't sit there and say, oh, everything's cool, officer, everything's all right, it was a mistake. Because they don't know if that person who was abusing the other person said, hey, if you say anything, I'm going to kill you. That's the thing. So they have to remove that person so they can get an honest response from the other person. Like, are you really in trouble? Did they threaten you? Or, do you feel safe? And then at that point, everything gets resolved. And yeah, okay, maybe there's no charges pressed, but the police are going to remove that person from the situation to protect the other person. That's how that works. Okay, now when the police are called to a situation and there's a warrant for arrest for one of the people there, guess who's leaving? The person they have a warrant for your arrest. Okay? And this guy had 3 warrants for arrest. And and one of them was for sexually abusing a minor, like a 14-year-old. So all these people are like, oh, we need justice for this guy. And I'm going to say his name. I'm not even going to say his name because it's so horrible what he did to this girl and how how people are making this out. It's like you can't defend people like this. Like, somebody does something wrong, you have to call them out as wrong. You know, there's a Martin Luther King quote, you know, from one of his speeches that stuck with me. I believe it's the I Have a Dream speech, where he talks about wanting people to be judged on the conduct of their character and not on the color of their skin. And right now, we're making every judgment based on color of skin. Black is good, white is bad. And I've said that before, but it's, you know, it just rings so true right now. And I understand that people want a social virtue and you know, say that racism is bad. Yes, racism is bad. But this isn't about racism, right? And we can say, you know, everything that the systematic racism ended up causing his problems, that he ended up getting to this point. You know, I mean, that's a deep, dark hole to climb in and make that jump to that conclusion. Could be entirely possible. Could be 100% possible. But the resolution is not to condemn the police for trying to do their job when they show up and the guy has violated the rules. You know, that's going to be the thing. That's going to be the real test, you know, for me, for this movement going forward, is like, can you condemn somebody? Can you judge them on the conduct of their character and say, you know what, this person was bad? Now, there was a white kid that showed up, 17 years old, ended up killing 2 people in the ensuing riots. Look, that guy's equally bad. Okay, there's no distinction. Like, that guy's maybe worse, okay, than the black guy. Now, he may be able to say self-defense, but look, he put himself in that situation because he came from another state to be in there carrying guns and ends up killing 2 people. You know, that, as an older person, look, if I know there's going to be trouble somewhere, I'm not going to where there's trouble. And you for sure don't take a gun, an assault weapon, and carry it out like that. There was a guy from Wheeling that went to Texas carrying an assault rifle, open carry. He's dead because he got involved in something. You know, that is inviting trouble. Is all that kid was doing, was inviting trouble. He got into trouble and then he had to defend himself. So to me, once you incite that and you put yourself in that situation, regardless of what you say your intentions were, that you had bad intentions, number one. And I don't know that you didn't go there to do something that you thought you could get away with, number 2, right? You know, the justice system, legal system will sort all that out. He'll have to make his case. But I mean, there's a good possibility that he's going to go to jail for a long, long time. And I don't know if that's a bad thing. If somebody that's willing to walk into a situation like that with guns, I don't know that I want them on the street. I don't know that I want them out there. I don't know that I want somebody out there that's willing to rape a 14-year-old either. You know, you got to make that distinction. Bad is bad. Just call it what it is on its face. Just because somebody's a certain color doesn't mean they're a saint. And if that guy was white that had 3 warrants out for his arrest, every white person would be applauding the police and saying, hey, good job. Good job. You guys did your job. That was his fault. And it shouldn't matter what color his skin was. That's the problem. That's where BLM's got to make that change. All right. Be careful. Stay COVID free. See you later.